And And that was a wonderful conversation there with Mazino and Zizi Kodor. She is one of the foremost Nigerian fashion designers, contemporary Nigerian fashion designers who have contributed immensely to the Nigerian fashion space there indeed. And you can see some of her designs and just her talking through her beginnings as well as her creative process and everything in between. She blends just African aesthetics, Nigerian aesthetics, as well as, modern, just giving a bit of modern twist to it. And we absolutely, it was a fun watch. Well, Mazino, it was clear that you had yourself a good time.
I actually did.
I know.
And you should be in the presence of Zizi Kodor. She's such an exciting person.
She's a regal,
vibrant.
That's a beautiful woman. Everybody say yellow.
There we go again. This is your this thing, in any case. Now, tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go right into what we had prepared from before, and that is about Children's Day for tomorrow, which, of course, is being celebrated here. Now, Nigeria will commemorate Children's Day in Nigeria and, of course, across the world with very vibrant and joyous celebrations dedicated to the nation's young ones, which is usually marked in schools with celebrations and parades and matches and cultural displays. So ahead of tomorrow's activities, we'll like to reflect on the future of the Nigerian child. The topic of our pre-Children's Day special is, of course, the theme for this year. Investing in our future means investing in our children. Education is the cornerstone of the nation's progress, and our children are the future leaders, innovators, and also change makers. And investing in education is crucial, especially in the 21st century.
Yes, indeed. And now to discuss the importance of investing in children's education, we're joined by the two esteemed guests. Now, we know that one of them is, unfortunately can't make it, but we'll try to make that connection with her. But in the meantime, we have on standby joining us via video chat, and that is Sonia, and she's an author. Sonia, a very good morning to you, and thank you so much for being so kind and joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Good morning. Let's get started very quickly, shall we? And let's just pretty much just talk about education in general. And I would like to start by you. We're talking about investing in children's education. Talk to us about how crucial it is for the Nigerian child.
Thank you. Early childhood education is crucial, and why? Why is it crucial? Provides a vital role in a child's development. It is the strong foundation that the child needs for later academic, social, and formative growth. During a child's formative years, the child's brain is like a sponge. It absorbs all the new experiences, new languages, basically everything around the environment. So early childhood education is key. It is very important that it's timely and done when the child is young and most impressive. Thank you.
So, can you share insights into, you just talked about, especially when the child is young, right? So, share a bit of insight into the role of early childhood education, especially in shaping it. Just give us more insight on that.
Okay, like when a child is young, the child first learns from his immediate environment, languages. Yes, if you speak English, and example, I'm an Igbo girl, you speak Igbo. And living in Lagos, I speak Yoruba. That child is able to grasp 3 languages in the beginning. He can speak English, he can speak Igbo, and he can speak Yoruba. Okay? So that child's brain is soaking up all the nursery rhymes that you as our parents is singing, and communicating with the child is you can sing blah 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 sheep and other things. So yes, when the child is young, you need to start early, exposed to education. In a family of 4 children, where only one child has a private education, you can see the last. You can see that one child is better than the other 4 children. So it's better that you start this early so that for the later academic growth, you see the emotional growth is there, and the formative years, they go through it easily, and it's better for the child in the long run.
Well, okay, Sonia, I've got a question for you, but first I wanted to ask, you're an author. What's the name of your book, and who is it directed to?
Okay, the name of my book is Don't Touch My Body. It's directed to children from 3 to 5 years old.
Okay, fantastic. Now, I'm going to come back and ask specific questions about that book. But first, I wanted to ask you what exactly the importance is of literal education for kids, especially in their formative years. How important is it that kids begin to learn things literally from books or from reading or storytelling generally?
Okay, storytelling, literature. These things provide psychological and educational benefits. Example, their imagination becomes enhanced. They can visualize spoken words, their dreams, and sometimes you hear them. You ask them, who are you speaking to? They're like, oh, that's my friend. Where is the friend? I can't see the friend. They're imagining. Their cognitive skills are, becoming more enhanced. They can visualize things and they can improve their vocabulary. It gives them more refined communication skills, helps them dream, helps them start getting ambitious at a younger age.
Okay, so now let's talk specifically about your book, Don't Touch My Body. Why was it essential to have that book out for kids in their formative years?
It was very important because I noticed that the ages of sexual abuse in kids have risen over the years. It's continue rising. If you look at the papers, the dailies, you see as young as 3 months, as young as 6 months. This is sickening. And, this has happened to someone close to me. So it's from a place of love. And I'm like, and this person was abused at a very young age. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me try. I have kids now, and I'm really careful with who's around them. So let me try and put something out there to help other mothers, fathers to be to able to teach their children about consent and whoever is in their space. So that's why this book came about.
Okay then, Sonia. Well, now regarding how children, especially here in Africa, are faced with cultural restrictions or let's say limits regarding how they can express themselves when it comes to the topic that you talked about in your book, how have you been able to manage it, or how do you suggest that parents manage this kind of education? Let's put it so.
Oh, thank you. So, yes, statistically, people say you should talk to your children about consent from age 8 to 14. That's before puberty. But I think that's too late because your child leaves you at, basically age 3 to 5, they're gone to school and everything. So I think you should teach your child about consent, about their personal space earlier than that, because in the African setting, you hear this is your uncle, this is your auntie, you don't hear this is teacher and everything. So they think everybody is part of their family. No. So you have to teach your child that, okay, you know what, this is what is wrong. Nobody should pick you up and put you on their laps. Nobody should kiss you on your lips. Nobody should hug you tightly or try to look at your private. You have to teach your child that before they even go to school. You understand? So that you protect your child from the wolves that are in sheep clothing around us, because it can be anybody. It can be your neighbor, it can be their teacher, it can be anybody. So your child has to know that, an African child has to know that before you go out, oh, that's your uncle, that's your auntie, but don't let them do this, don't let them fondle you, don't let them behave this way towards you. So it has to be early. As long as the child can speak, can say yes, can say no, can say mommy and daddy, your child has to have the education about consent.
Well, many thanks, Sonia. We're going to take a short break to bring us the news, but we'll come back to you to continue this conversation and make it more robust. Many thanks again.
Welcome back. Thank you very much for coming back to us. Thank you, Debola, for bringing us the news. Of course, we are still in the mood for tomorrow's celebration, the 27th of May, which happens to be Children's Day across the world. And of course, the theme this year is investing in our children means investing in the future. And we did say from before that we're going to continue that conversation that we had with Sonia, and that's what we're going to do as soon as we can establish communication back with her. But, however, we are going to continue right here inside the studio, where we know that education is a very key factor when it comes to investing in children. So, in a bid to make sure that we go full circle on the conversation, we have with us Dr. Joy Isa, education consultant and president, Isa School of Education, and, of course, she's been with us from before. You're welcome again. Good to have you back.
Thank you so much. Nice to be here.
Yeah, I know we promised that we're going to make the conversation as robust as possible,
yes,
and from our last time, so hopefully this time we're going to do justice to that time. Welcome.
Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. We'll also remember that we're supposed to have Sonia. She's going to make that connection back with us, to the children's book author. But let me start with you, Dr. Joy. Investing in our children's education. I asked earlier, but I'm going to ask you as well. Could you start by, explaining why investing in children's education is crucial for Nigeria's future?
First off, Nigeria's population, the mean age of Nigeria's population is 17.2, which means 50%, 1 in 2 Nigerians under the age of 18. If we do not invest in them, if we don't equip them with the skills, the knowledge and skills they need to be responsible adults, we are in trouble as a nation. So on that fundamental, just from that point alone, from a population point alone, there are too many young people to just leave, to leave the education of, the raising of, the building of, to leave it to arbitrary happenstance. And the number of private schools versus the number of public schools leaves much to be desired in terms of attention. So if you look at the data, it's about, I checked it quickly before coming. Okay. The number of public schools in senior secondary public schools is just about 9,500, but the number of private schools is 17,400. So we blame the government a lot, right? Oh, not enough, investment in education, not enough money is put in there. However, the government cannot raise our children alone. It's just, there are too many of us, in a sense. And because we have these private schools established, attention needs to be paid to the private sector, the private education sector. Who's regulating that sector? What are we doing? The Office of Quality Assurance. That's where I think the government can invest a bit more in education to say, can we pay attention to these private schools? In Lagos State, for example, there are about 20,000 private schools. And as at the last count with the previous commissioner, only about 5,000 of them are approved. So I just, feel passionate. I need to help these out-of-school children. I open a school in my backyard. Yes. While that is providing a service, and it is valid because we do need structure in terms of raising our children. We need to help them gain the digital competencies, literacy skills, numeracy skills. I think we should add social responsibility and entrepreneurship because we don't have enough formal jobs for the teeming population. So if we teach them entrepreneurship skills from the base, foundation, then they can grow up and be meaningful contributors to society. So yeah, so if you circle back, you just think, okay, can we pause and really reflect? Who's going to make this investment? From a government standpoint, only about 6-point-something% of the budget is in education. There's a lot to say about that, but let's just leave it there. We have so many private schools, private learning organizations, who's paying attention to those and what is going on in those schools. I think that's where we need to search, to shine the searchlight a bit more.
Okay. We understand that Sonia has joined us. She's live now, joining us via video chat. Sonia, are you there? We just want to make... Sonia, are you there? There you are. All right, welcome back. Now, you're muted. I understand that your audio is muted. If you can help us to unmute. In the meantime, we're talking about the challenges, right? And you're talking... How then can the government address these challenges in helping to, bring all the other children that are out of the system effectively back into the system?
Partnering with the private schools, partnering with private organizations, NGOs, mosques, churches, all these people who are well-meaning citizens who want to make a difference. Yeah, partner with them so they can establish the learning organizations. They can establish the entrepreneurial hubs. They can establish these things. However, government is responsible for regulation. The Office of Quality Assurance needs to be active and not just passive. Unfortunately, there's a saying amongst us that when the inspectors come, just, give them rice, give them drinks, put them in the corner office, send a few notes and things there, and just give them what you want them to see. We need to move away from that to them understanding that they have a responsibility to make sure the the private educators are doing what we should be doing. That, I think, is a real key. Pay attention to the Office of Quality Assurance.
Okay.
Invest, so teach the inspectors what to look out for in today's world. You know, not the, inspectorates from let's say 1945. Come up, are these schools teaching digital competencies? I mean, in this world, why are we still answering questions on what is a typewriter?
Very interesting question there. Very true. I'm going to come to you, Sonia, if you're with us. Sonia, so from your perspective now as an author, and of course we have in the studio here Dr. Joy, who's talking about these instances from an educationist's point of view. Both of you are on two different facts that are very important in this. But how do we bridge the gap when it comes to nurturing, which is what you do being an author, and education, which is what Dr. Isa here does as an educationist? Where do we bridge those two together?
Okay, we can bridge the gap with nurturing and education with literature, basically. Folklore, like a lot of things we can do with that. We can teach our children about activities in our various.
Sonia, we lost you again. Your audio. Sonia, I think we lost you there. We have lost Sonia there. You're talking about challenges, Ellie, and she was also just a bit more on those challenges, right? Can innovation play in technology? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You just talked about the style of teaching still being rooted back in the 40s. How then can we bring it back?
Before I even answer your question, just to add to what Sonia said
Yes,
about
please.
folklore. We have a culture of storytelling as Africans, and I think that is so important and should be embedded or should be reintroduced to our education systems. Get the children to read. Get them to read the stories. Get them to write the stories. Get them to talk about experiences from the lens of an African child. Get grandma and grandpa to come to school and tell us what life was like, and get us to record or chronicle our history and our stories again. That will be, you need to know where you were, so you know where you're going to, and you don't lose the essence of who you are as an African. So I think including our stories, getting authors like Sonia to write more children's stories, more about our cultural perspectives to life would be fantastic. And so again, the gap now becomes embedding these stories into the curriculum. So these stories now become part of the literature texts, required reading, and government-approved texts for schools at different levels. And you will see the handshake so beautifully. The government requires that, or suggests that we teach children in L1, first language, up to age 3, up to primary 3, sorry. So if my first language is Igbo, I can go to school and in primary school understand foundational concepts in Igbo. Then I learn English and I can apply them better. Worldwide, this is practice. Imagine if we had the Igbo stories written in beautiful English. And so my mom told me the story, but now I'm reading it in English. It makes sense. I have a deeper conceptual understanding of the morals and the values being taught. As I pour that out in any standardized test or exam, it comes to life easier. So just getting that opportunity, I guess collaborating with authors, people who are invested in education to say, okay, can we really pay attention to this curriculum? NERDC is the regulating body for curriculum. Can NERDC, can we have a public-private sector partnership? The government cannot publish all the books. The government cannot do all this investment in research. I think they should do more in terms of research and development. We need active investment in that area. Notice I've been saying invest.
Well, that's the theme, isn't it?
The government needs to invest because, I own a school, perhaps 30 children, 40 children, 200 children. How much am I going to ask the parents to pay in terms of tuition that will allow me set up my research and development department? I think that's where the government can come in.
So we understand that Sonia is back as well. Sonia, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Now, you were giving us your answer to Mazino's question about bridging the gap or the intersection between just nurturing and education.
Yes, this can be done with folklore, storytelling. That's why it's really important, you know, like if we want to teach our children about how to build a community, you teach children about divided we stand, united we stand, divided we fall, you know, through folklore, through storytelling. Like, oh, okay, you want to teach your children about like lying. Oh, you tell them about where the child that told the story about wolf, 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 and then you know there's different ways you can through history, storytelling. Those are different ways that we can bridge the gap between nurturing and education.
Now, during our conversation earlier, we were talking about pretty much parents' involvement in the children's learning and how they play a very pivotal role in learning, especially at early age, right? But we see that in the climate that we live in, capitalism seems to be winning. You know, it's winning a fight against just present parents who actually want to be parents. I want you to speak on that and how parents can just be more intentional in investing in children's education, especially for early childhood.
Yes. Okay, that question is for me.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Your child, you can be more. Sorry, please. You can hear my children in the background. I'm really sorry.
It's okay.
It's fine.
Okay, you can like talk to your children when they come back home about the school activities, you know, ask them, oh, hi, how was your day? How was your activity? What happened in class? And listen, listen to what they say, and then you can sift out what they have heard in school, and, the things you need to reinforce upon you reinforce, and the things that you need to, to remove and rebuke lightly, you say, okay, no, that's not supposed to happen and everything. And you can also promote reading by reading yourself. I'm an author. My child sees me writing. She knows that she has to read and write. You also have to limit and monitor TV, social media, or games. The time that they spend on these things, you have to limit it. And also express to your child, I'm proud of you, but I expect you to do more. I expect your standards to come up more, and then just hope for the best with them, and just be with them all through their learning journey.
Well, thank you very much. Joy, I want to come back to you.
She did a sigh of...
Yeah, exactly. I saw your gestures there while Sonia was giving us her response. Now, regarding what she talked about now, limiting technology generally, what role does technology play? Is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? We're complaining about being left in the doldrums in the medieval times when it comes to our education system. But then again, technology itself seems to be a distraction. So once again, the question is bridging the gap.
I like how you said technology seems to be a distraction, because we wouldn't be here without technology. I wouldn't be here, Sonia wouldn't be here, we wouldn't be here. Technology is an asset and not a distraction. The use of technology can be a distraction, but technology in and of itself is an asset. Imagine how in these times, not only can we read stories, we can sign in on some online platform and listen to the stories with full animation, full sound effects, and it feels like I'm in the forest with Anansi, the spider. That's technology. That's powerful. That just rouses emotions in the minds of the children, and they're able to have virtual school trips without going to Ghana or going to China or going to the village in Ondo or somewhere. They can relive those experiences. Therein lies the power of technology. In addition, if I even circle back to what we said about how we can kind of spread this good quality education around, government can assure the quality. If we have, some states, I must give it to the government, some governments have invested in including technology in their schools, where they have these tablets with lesson plans already pre-uploaded. They have children's work already loaded, and the children can access that. So even in remote areas where they don't have internet access, they have those tabs. That's technology. That's the use of technology. Parents, you can monitor your children using technology. There's some schools that have these apps where when your child signs into school, I get a notification, ding, Joy is safe, Joy is in school. When she's going out on the school bus, ding, she's left, and you can track. So technology is an asset for us in all aspects of education. However, sometimes we're a bit careless. You know, people putting children on social media, I mean, that goes against every safeguarding policy on the planet. You know, your digital footprint is important as a parent and more so as a child. We should not be displaying our children on social media and, you know, disclosing their locations and things. They're safe. I mean, we should be digitally literate, right? As parents, so that we are taking responsibility for our children and not just leaving that up to, you know, schools and governments, etc. So technology is an asset, not a distraction.
And I'm sure that technology would also improve or help in improving diversity into...
Absolutely.
This, yeah.
Imagine if I come to school and I'm hard of hearing, but because I have the assisted device, my teacher speaks, it translates speech to text, and I can read what my teacher's saying in the classroom. So it promotes inclusion, and, you know, I don't have to go to a special school.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I want to say thank you very much, Dr. Isa, for coming
Always
and joining us
pleasure.
on once again. And also, of course, you, Sonia Oguamanannm, thank you for joining us as well, all the way using technology,
Absolutely.
as we can see as an asset. Thank you indeed.